Here we have the C note for you, okay, and we start with the 5 reasons why the Cowboys season is a disaster. And we go to Jon Machota here in The Athletic for it. I'm going to give you each of his reasons, and then I have a question for you about that. Number 1, they did not do enough in the offseason. Shots fired at our guy Eric Kendricks, but really that was about all they did as far as name recognizable players. My question for you guys, do you think if the Cowboys could go back in time, they would do that offseason any differently?
That's a good question, man. I think that the pain that they're feeling right now and the frustration and just how loud everything is with just the general disgust of this team, I would like to think yes. I mean, my goodness, how could you not, if you had a chance to redo this thing, how could you not do some different things? Because you've built one of the worst teams in the sport.
I don't think they would.
Why not?
I think we're about to have the second round of this coming up.
Another offseason of doing nothing?
Yeah, because of the cap.
I think where they're at right now, if you go to overthecap.com and look at all the free agents, the pending free agents for after this season, the Jordan Lewises, the Osa Digizuwas, they're about to have the second letting of all the depth. They don't have enough picks. They're not, they're going to try and sign college free agents off their board afterwards. That's how they're going to try and kind of manipulate this thing.
That's a joke, dude. I mean, they're going to obviously. I know what you're saying is true. I'm saying they're a joke if that's how they're approaching it.
This is about to be the second round of losing all their depth and not replacing it.
They're going to flip switches on a bunch of different contracts. Dak, of course, probably CD. They have guys that they can move on from and clear out plenty of money. If they want to have $50 to $60 million to play with in free agency, they can do it. Now, if they decide they don't want to, that's one thing. But they absolutely you can't use the salary cap as like a total handcuff.
Oh, no.
Sorry, guys, we have nothing that we can do here. You can create $50 to $60 million easily with some of the things that they can do contractually, moving on from guys, whatever, and then go have at it in free agency. Now, they probably won't, Broadus, to your point, but let's not sit here and act like they have no other option.
No, they could. They could go ahead and create and restructure and do stuff. Then that's part of the reason why they're never in a good salary cap area. They also might need to rethink how they're doing that with the salary cap and maybe get some fresh voices and maybe innovative ideas to how to do this to where they're in a better position than other teams. It seems like this is always the conversation we're having. They never have money. They're always, we can't do this, we can't do that. I mean, a $2 million running back was too expensive for them.
Yeah.
So I'd like to think in hindsight, they would. But no, they're so damn stubborn that they probably would.
If they're going to do something, then if you talk about taking money, I don't think it's going to look at the Rams or the Buccaneers or the Seahawks. It's always going to be about their own. It's going to be about signing Osa Digizuwa again. It's going to be about signing Jordan Lewis again. And these guys, they've played well. And then they'll let the guys go on that they don't feel like, and then we'll see what the Commanders will collect those guys and, play against you for a couple of years. But, to me, I don't think they're ever going to go out and grab somebody from another team that way on day one. I don't think they're going to do that anymore.
I agree with you on that, and I don't think they would change much about last year. But I do wonder what different they would do at the end of the first round there, Brian, looking back on that.
It's a good question. To me, I still think they would have gone offensive line, right?
Well, they could have stayed and taken Graham Barton if they didn't trade back.
Interior O-line guy, right?
Right. He's a starting center for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
But they picked up the extra third.
You got the extra third, which you were able to get Cooper Beebe, who also is right there amongst the best rookies in terms of lowest pressure rate allowed this year. Beebe's been good. But, I don't know that – Guyton was good value where they took him late in the first.
Because number 2 is just that the offensive line has significantly underperformed. You'd probably predict that going with 2 rookie starters.
See, the thing that I think hurt them the most is they had regression on the right side of their offensive line, and they didn't account on that.
Yeah.
They were thinking that, okay, here's year 2 of Steele being off the knee injury, elevation of his game. We saw a little improvement. It got better as the season wore on last year. So they were thinking that was going to probably be, they were able to hang their hat on that. I don't think they saw Zach Martin falling to the depths he is right now. And a lot of it has to do with injuries.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he was kneeling on the field the other day. I heard that he got punched in the throat, you know, and it kind of stunned him.
God.
It stunned him, and he just had to sit there and kind of collect his thoughts. But
Throat punch, huh?
yeah, but he's dealing with ankles, he's dealing with knee, he's dealing with a back, he's dealing with they didn't know that his level was going to just go that drastically. So yeah, you think like, listen, we've got 3 veteran starters that we like. Smith, Martin, Steele. We'll be fine. At some point in time, all 5 of those guys have kind of gone down to, like, their level of play hasn't been.
How's Tyler Smith been?
I think Tyler Smith has not been as good as he was last year. You know, I think Tyler Smith at times has been good, but not to the Pro Bowl level that we've seen Tyler Smith play.
Yeah,
and it might have to deal a little bit too with a rookie to his right and a rookie to his left.
Absolutely could.
Sure. That one's interesting. Okay, number 4, running back by committee was a mistake.
Big mistake.
How much would the right running back change things? You know, I remember 2014 had been an 8-8 team for 3 years. They finally make the commitment to give it to DeMarco Murray. He ran the ball like 380 times that year.
Yeah.
And they go to 12-4.
Yeah.
You know, could the right runner have a dramatic impact next year?
Let me tell you this, me personally, and I haven't seen all the running backs, but I've seen the Boise kid. Where the Boise kid will help you is his ability to make people miss. If they had a running back that was that type of guy, say, and I'm asking a lot of a Bijan Robinson, I'm asking a lot of the guys at Detroit, I'm asking a lot, you know, of that. Maybe
They're
even
amazing.
Joe,
They can do it.
maybe even Joe Mixon. You know, somebody that can make defenders miss, that helps an offensive line. Because if you do just brush block or just kind of hit a guy but don't get him square, but the back is able to avoid and go.
Right.
You know, whereas Zeke or Dowdle tends to run into contact. The
hole
way the
closes
scheme
before they
is,
get there.
the ball never goes to the edge here. We're going to talk about
big
the
lack of
Commanders.
speed. Big
The
lack of speed with
Commanders,
that crew.
the Commanders have given up more rushing first downs than you on the ground.
Wow.
Think about that. They've given up like 93 or 94 first downs on the ground this year. Dallas has given up 91.
Let's go beat Washington, boys.
Yeah, we think Dallas has a bad run defense.
Right.
If somebody's gaining first downs on you that way, that's kind of, it's not throwing it, it's running it.
Let me ask you this last question. Final reason, a half dozen here from Machota on why the Cowboys season became a disaster. He goes with the CeeDee Lamb holdout. That have an impact, guys.
Oh,
I mean, him and Dak not being on the same page. Like, you hate to think that just missing camp for a guy who's been here for so many years, who apparently has all the rapport in the world, off his best season with his quarterback. They go into the Dak yard. You would hate to think that just those 4 to 6 weeks in training camp really ruin things. But I don't know what else to point to. Like, how are Dak and Lamb just not on the same page at all?
I'll tell you where it ruined things. You didn't get to practice with Tolbert and Brooks and those guys with Lamb out there. So those guys were kind of working with Cooks. And those young players never got to work with Lamb. You know, when they were practicing, it was always with somebody else. And then all of a sudden Lamb comes back. They kind of have, all right, where do we fit in all this? Where are we? I mean, they're having to maybe play different roles to make up for Lamb not being there.
I would just say that, you know, Lamb and Dak weren't on the same page multiple times last year, especially in the playoff game. I think Lamb and Dak not being on the same page is just a symptom of when the offense is broken. You know, the defense has the answers.
I think there's a lack of belief in what's going on there with the
Dak's
the
under
play
a lot of
calling
pressure. You speed up
the
Dak.
offense in general, 100%. But yeah, training camp matters. I mean, we heard it afterwards. Plenty of players came out and talked about it. Like when you
I
miss
believe
camp,
it now. I believe it now.
You are going to start a little bit slower. I didn't think it would have the impact that it looked like it did have on the field, though.
Yeah.